What's up, boys and girls? Week 12 already here in the NFL. It's your boy Donnie RightSide here, rightwager.com. You know how we get down. You know, we have some fun. You know, we kick it up. Let's get some music on for this bad boy, huh? You ready? You ready for the big week ahead? Week 12 already? Pretty impressive that we're this far in the season at this point right now, but also hanging out doing a few things. We'll go over some lines for this game. Last week I spent like 40 minutes going over these, but I don't think we need to do that this week here in the live show. If anybody pops in on the chat, be able to pull it up there. Any questions that you have on this week or any thoughts, we can certainly get into that as well. But let me bring up here. So we got some picks here at this point now. Let's go over the little right wager action. We can bring things up and put them on the side. There we go. Look at that. Look at the site. Looking nice right there. Scroll it down. There's your boy right there. Monday Night Football. Boy, we needed a bailout on Monday night. We got that bailout. 3-1 overall. 3.3 units of profit. Hit 2 touchdown props and a plus money prop on Mr. Pickens. That was beautiful. That's the way we wanted to get the week started. And we're hoping for more plus money action coming your way this week. But real easy. There's the videos there you can click on. I usually pop up some things, the early lines, one from last week. But this week, we'll update that one, too, if you want to catch it out. Easy to log in. Easy to head over to rightwager.com. It's the way we get down to it. It's the way we have some business. It's the way we have fun out here. Now, let's get down to some action here today. I'll keep myself in that bottom right-hand corner. But we got some dealings to go over this week. Thursday Night Football. And then we have how many games on Sunday here? Let me see. How many games do we got? Let's scroll down. We got one, obviously Thursday, but let's go to Sunday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We had 13 games last Sunday because we had that extra game at 9:30 a.m., which was the overseas game. But not a bad slate. Buffalo and Houston, we'll get to that in just a few moments. Pittsburgh and Chicago. We'll see who's at quarterback because Aaron Rodgers says he might be able to play this weekend after basically breaking a bone in his left wrist, which is his non-throwing wrist, which is important designation for that. I don't know what he's going to do, though, this week. And by the way, Mason looked just fine. I mean, I think they can probably get on just fine without having him, to be honest. But also, how's he going to protect himself? You know he's going to get hit again. The guy can't get out of the way of anything. Bears will put pressure on him, and that wrist is going to flare up and act up. And holding the football with 2 hands in the pocket when that pass rush comes in, it'll be interesting to see if he can actually do that. New York Jets and Baltimore Ravens. New York Giants, Detroit Lions. Smells like a blowout there. We'll go over these lines in just a few moments. New England and Cincinnati. Cincinnati going to be without Jamar Chase in that game. Drake May in New England. Fantastic so far over the past couple weeks. One of the hottest teams that you will find across the NFL. If we look here, let me just get off the highlight button there. Sammy Darnold taking on Tennessee. They got beat by the Rams. That should be an easy victory for them. And my goodness, we'll hit those lines in just a moment. That is high. Minnesota and Green Bay. McCarthy, awful last week. Never should have played him on Sunday. He was pathetic. Taking on Green Bay, a very good defense. Good game here at 1 o'clock. Indianapolis and Kansas City. How's that not at 4 o'clock anyway? I know we'll get to the 4 o'clocks in a second. Daniel Jones, who is on my you-know-what list. But my goodness. We talked about last week a referendum game for Kansas City. Seems like it's going to be another referendum game for them. 405 action really stinks outside of one game. Jacksonville, Arizona stinks. Cleveland, Las Vegas, that game stinks. Atlanta, New Orleans, that game stinks out loud right there. Philadelphia and Dallas, okay, we got one to talk about. Sunday Night Football, good one. Tampa Bay and the Los Angeles Rams. Then you take a look at Monday Night Football. Get what you get at that point. And talk about this, man. Some of these days, it's like, hey, man, these games ain't about to be bet on at this point, right? It's like they look absolutely atrocious to bet on at that point there, right? Just the way it is. But we're going to hit each and every game, go over those early lines where they opened up, where some of the money and the ticket splits are sitting, and some information to look at. Now, it's Tuesday. You got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, certainly, to take a look at some of these options and see where it fits in fine. But let's start the fun here and go over it because we don't have really a lot of prop bets to do. I didn't want to get into that now. I'll probably do a show a little bit later in the week once we get some of those official lines coming out on some of the props and certainly which ways to play it here. But just last week, or should I say Sunday, I got punched in the head on prop bets. I do a pick'em pool with BMR. I went 7-0, which was first place this week on sides. And not really dipping the sides all that much, having a pretty good season in that, because I don't think there's major advantages in NFL sides anymore, even though I had a great week. But just shifting over some of the focus here more of to plus money options, bumping players up a couple yards to get plus money. I think that makes some sense, because Monday Night Football, it's great. Like, you usually go 3-1. It's like, okay, you want around 2 units or maybe a little bit less. But I had a lot of plus money in there, plus 175 or plus 170, whatever that Ferguson touchdown was, plus 150 or so for the George Pickens touchdown. I took Pickens up from 64.5 to 70 yards to go from a minus 112 up to a plus 110 price at FanDuel. That one hit. Only one I lost out on was Ferguson. Had to get 40-plus yards at a plus 110 price, but also losing that, right? You're not losing any juice. So it does make some sense there and certainly worked in my favor. All right, let's take a look at some of these games now. We'll go over game by game right here. Let's start right at the top. The Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. 8:15 start on Thursday night. You see those ticket splits right here where I'm circling? 77% of the tickets and 88% of the money coming in on the Buffalo Bills. That line opened up at 2.5 and now sits at 5.5, 6, 6, 6, 6, depending where you're shopping. Westgate, Bet365, BetMGM. Total 45.5. That line has dropped to 43.5 across the board. Why? The expectation that C.J. Stroud was supposed to come back. Now, he's not coming back for this game. It's going to be Davis Mills again. What to make sense of, the Buffalo Bills are the better football team. We know that. But also at the same time, come on now. Last time we saw them on the road against the Miami Dolphins, they were horrendous. Houston back-to-back victories here with Davis Mills at quarterback. Is he electric? No. Did they beat a good football team last week? No, they didn't. But they did have a 19-point comeback in the fourth quarter the week before against Jacksonville. 6 points road. And usually, and again, in the past for me, it's always home team or no team in those instances, right? So I don't love this game. But we'll take a look from a prop perspective. But certainly the public is absolutely loving the Buffalo Bills in this game. Bet as high as 6 now across the marketplace. Interested to see where they get come Thursday night. All right, let's get to the 1 o'clock slate here, and that is Pittsburgh. It says TBD at quarterback because officially we don't know. Mason Rudolph was actually really good in that second half. Efficient, moving the football, 24 total points in the second half. Now, 7 did come from the defense, but 17 points there for the offense. Liked what I saw. He's mobile. He can get outside the pocket. Aaron Rodgers can't do that. Just get buried in the pocket and the hell beat out of him. But this line also, 76% of the ticket count coming in on the Pittsburgh Steelers. 71% there of the money coming in. Now look at the line, though. 24% on the Chicago Bears. The Bears open here, minus 1.5 at FanDuel. Now 2.5. You even got 3s in the marketplace at DraftKings and Bet365. That's an interesting one here. Chicago last week on the road, last-minute victory against Minnesota in first place in their division. This is a Sunday game. Then they play the Black Friday game against the Philadelphia Eagles the next week. I'm not high on Pittsburgh. And I tell you, I'm not going to be high on Pittsburgh if Aaron Rodgers is playing that game with a busted, wrist. So early week for me, I like the non-public side here. Non-public home dog? Sounds tasty at that point right now, doesn't it? New York Jets and the Baltimore Ravens. Tyrod Taylor going to be the starting quarterback this week for the Jets. To the bench, Justin Fields goes. Lamar Jackson, certainly going to be with Baltimore. Didn't have to do much last week. It was almost like you just waited out those Cleveland Browns. Like, hey, Brownies. You'll eventually make a mistake. Look at that side, though. 61% on the Baltimore Ravens. 14.5 at the opening number, sitting at 13.5 across the board. Let me ask you this question out there. How do you feel about this? I mean, really, how do you feel about this? And the reason I bring this up is Tyrod Taylor supposed to make the Jets a better team? Do you think they're supposed to make them a better team at that point right now? I don't know about that. If I'm just looking at from a Jets perspective, the one thing that at least you had with the Jets was a mobile quarterback in a running game. And I think Justin Fields stinks out loud. Now you don't have that. Tyrod Taylor can move around the pocket a little bit. He's not a statue, but he is getting up there. Still don't have very many weapons at wide receiver, but you do have some extra options that you didn't have even a couple weeks ago. That's interesting to me, though. 14 points. If I'm looking early week, and let me just see. Let's put this back up here on the screen. Let me see about the early weather conditions here. 51 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour winds, no precipitation, a good day for offense. So this also leads me to a fact that maybe we're looking Lamar Jackson, we're looking Baltimore props here because that defense isn't very good for the Jets. And last week you did have swirling winds here. Baltimore's offense I know didn't look that good, but also you're going against Cleveland. Cleveland's got a really good defense. Really good defense. high numbers here. I don't know if you like a side at that point here, but the total is a little interesting because I do think the Jets good for at least like 15 or so points? Because I think Baltimore does their normal, let's get into the high 20s here. Weather conditions early week, love to see it right now. I think it makes some sense. All right, let's keep moving down. New York Giants and the Detroit Lions. Last time we saw the Detroit Lions, they were in Philadelphia. Really got held down. 5 fourth-down conversions up in flames. Maybe if they convert those, there's a lot more points. Detroit is a different team at home, as we know that, from where they are away. 67% of the early tickets right now coming in right here on the Detroit Lions. 75% of the money and pushing that number higher. You see this opening number right here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, 9.5. It now sits at 10.5. Most other outlets also 10.5. And the total sitting at 49.5. The Giants defense thinks out loud. Detroit's going to be angry this week. But also, I don't think, let me just take a look here quickly on Sam Laporta. Because he missed the game last week. And I think he went to, let me just get out of this so I don't mess all this up. Let me see. Let's see if we can get on this other computer right here. Sam Laporta. Just doing some quick research right now on this. Because I do think he went to IR. Sam Laporta was missed in his first game on IR. Yes, so he's not eligible to come back this week. So I just wanted to confirm that and not say, hey, if Laporta comes back, he's not coming back. But those wide receivers should absolutely eat this weekend. It's a high number at 10.5. Jameis Winston is interesting, but now you take Jameis Winston on the road, loud environment, angry Detroit team. I think it should be a Detroit double-digit victory, but also that 49.5 is interesting. I don't know if I go from a Giants perspective there. But I do think Detroit really gets back on it and says, you know what? We're after it here, man. We should be able to get after it. New England and Cincinnati, another 1 o'clock matchup here. 65% people on New England. No surprise there, I should say. 6.5s now in the opening number at FanDuel. We're now seeing 7.5s across the board. Even 8.5s. DraftKings 8.5. BetMGM 8.5. 8.5 also at Bet365. Total 49.5. Let's do a quick weather check report here. 52 degrees, no precipitation, light winds. This is good because last week we had the high winds at this point. But let's also understand what we're looking at from a perspective here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase not going to play in this game. So that's going to leave heavy conversion percentages to T. Higgins. But also now, T. Higgins as the lead dog, not Jamar Chase, expected to do more. New England's got a pretty good defense, but they're going to be down Milton Williams. He went to IR as well. That should hurt. But that total 49.5. It's one of those where you're looking for New England's side. Not necessarily to say I want to take them on the road to win by double digits. They can do that. But Drake May should crush that Cincinnati defense. They should do whatever they want. Interested to see when the practice reports come out to see if some of those wide receivers are much healthier here as we look for New England's wideouts. Because they should move the football. They're good. Like Drake May is smooth. There is no pass rush. And maybe Hendrickson comes back. But why are you rushing him back anyway at this point? Season's dead in the water for them. So for me, I do look at that and say, you know what? Could be. Could be a week where we're pressing down the needle on some props there for the New England Patriots. Let's get to the next game on the board. Let me bring that up for us here. Seattle and Tennessee. Tennessee, baby, Tennessee. 70% of the tickets you see here coming in on Seattle. 78% of the money. Seattle. Look at this line, boys and girls. 12.5's moving to 13.5. Look at the total. Drop the bottom's falling out, people. 43.5's now sitting at 40.5. Seattle, 4 interceptions last week for Sammy D. That can't happen. They almost won the game, too, with him having 4 interceptions. Weather conditions. Look at this. Good again, people. I'm getting excited. 60 degrees, mid-game. 3-mile-an-hour winds, no rain. This is good, man. Boy, we got some bad weather conditions last week, but we got some good ones this week. Tennessee is really bad on offense. That Seattle D should sink its teeth in. They should. I don't feel like any props really from that side because it could be anybody on Seattle. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba, what's he going to be at, 100+ this week? Guy's insane. Next game up, Minnesota and Green Bay. 1 o'clock start dome game. Actually, not a dome game. I apologize. It's Green Bay. We do have some injury issues in this game to get to, but I'm just going to go to the weather conditions here. 44 degrees by the time you're midway through the game, guys. Look at that, 48 and 49 degrees. Winds under 10 miles per hour. No precipitation. Love to see that. Josh Jacobs. That's the question mark in this game. Could play this weekend, might not play. That Green Bay offense isn't very good. It's just not. Yeah, Christian Watson made some plays last week against the Giants. If they didn't make those great plays at wide receiver, they get beat by the Giants. That defense didn't show me a lot last week anyway, but here's what are we getting? What are we getting out of J.J. McCarthy? That's the issue. What do we get out of J.J. McCarthy this week? Like, I mistakenly played him to an over, 215 and a half? They had a couple drop balls early in that game, which could have went from, some really good statistics, but he stunk. The dude had, no passing yards in the third quarter. They actually came back with winning that game until Chicago overtook them with a big kick return and a field goal to end that. But this line, though, 6.5, total 41.5. We got to get points, no? Or does J.J. McCarthy just absolutely stink? Boy, that's a tough one. It is. But again, we have good weather conditions at Green Bay for this time of year. We really do. Something to keep an eye out for. But again, Jacobs will know a little bit more in the practice reports. I anticipate he's not playing this weekend. I don't think he's going to play, which means that offense could be stagnant. And you know that the blitz is coming hard and heavy from a Flores defense. That's just facts, Jack. Indianapolis and Kansas City. Man, oh man, we're going to fall for that trap again. You guys falling for that trap again? Only reason I say that is, you look at the Colts. They can run the football, man. Jonathan Taylor is sensational. They got a good defense. Sometimes I take that deep breath there and go, it's still Daniel Jones. And over the past couple weeks, you look at the statistics from the last game they played against Atlanta. You might say to yourself, he was fine, Donnie. He really was in that game. And they really didn't trust him. Kansas City, Arrowhead, Custer's last stand, it feels like. But also having said this, 4.5's at that opening number, which you see right here. 50.5 was that total. You go down the line, 49.5s, 50.5s. But the line is dropping 3.5s with light juice across the board. Even here, look at Bet365. -3, -120 right here. 45% of the tickets on Kansas City, not even the favorite number. 32% of the money, and the line is dropping. I was really disappointed with Kansas City this weekend, guys. I just was. Like, when you look at Kansas City, you expect execution across the board. You just do. You didn't get that last week. They had the lead in the fourth quarter after a nice pass and a nice move by Travis Kelce to get in the end zone, and they went back-to-back 3-and-outs and cost themselves the football game. I saw a defense that wasn't making plays. I saw a defense that didn't look all that athletic. I saw an offense that just got their ass kicked on the offensive line. Understand this. Denver does have a really good pass rush, a historic pass rush. But Andy Reid refused to run the football. Let's see if we get Isaiah Pacheco back this weekend. But Kareem Hunt, they just don't want to give him the football. Maybe that's the way it's going to be. But I don't trust that team. I just don't. And I look at that point spread here. You know Kansas City plays one-score games, and they can't win any of those one-score games. So we led to believe that the only way Kansas City wins this game is they win by double digits. Unless we are just getting a full, absolute collapse from Daniel Jones, tell you, I still look toward Indianapolis. Like, I'm done. Like, last week was one of those weeks that you wanted to believe. I can't believe in it. I just can't believe in the Kansas City Chiefs anymore. They're 5-5. And if you're a boxer, you can throw that knockout punch on Kansas City, boys and girls. You can throw that knockout punch on them this weekend. You could do it, man. You could do it. Gambling gods coming in here and being like,
Patrick Mahomes, it's time to go.
Because they ain't going to make the playoffs. They lose this game, they're out of the playoffs. They lose every tiebreaker to every team playing in. Oh, don't give up on. No, give up on Kansas City if they lose this game. They came off a bye last week, and they were terrible. And, of course, I'm extra angry because that was the second part of a two-team parlay leg, which I lost on because Kansas City lost that football game despite having a lead in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville and Arizona, what a brutal football game. Jacksonville looked awesome last week, but now Jacksonville goes on the road. But it is a dome game. You don't have to worry about any weather conditions. By the way, did I check on that Kansas City weather real quick? Let me see what that was. Look at that, 55, 58, 60 degrees midway through the game. Light winds, no precipitation. This is a great, great weather week setting up right now. I'm liking this. No weather conditions we have to worry about for Jacksonville. 44.5 is the total at the opening number. Yeah, you saw Jacksonville last week put up in the mid-30s. You saw Arizona's defense get absolutely torched, but Jacoby Brissett completing 47 passes last week. That's now 3 points. Look at that. 44.5 at that look-ahead number, 47.5 as we see it here. Favorite moved over from Arizona at the opening number, the look-ahead number, we should say, at -1.5. Now a 2.5-point favorite for Jacksonville. Bayshall Tootin last week, Trevor Etienne, very good performances on the ground, a lot of rushing touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence didn't have to do all that much. See if we get some guys back on, let's see what those injuries were like from last week. Did they even print those up here? Let's see. DeMercado's got a high ankle sprain. He's not playing this weekend. Appendix for Marvin Harrison Jr., he's probably not there. Zay Jones, they're still, man, they beat up. They are a beat-up football team in Arizona. But look at this, the ticket count. Over 50%, though, still coming in on Arizona right here. But despite that movement, not a lot of money coming in so far on Jacksonville, but enough to swing that over from a favorite to Arizona to a favorite over. From a favorite to Arizona to a favorite over to Jacksonville. Cleveland and Las Vegas. Oh, my. Shedeur Sanders, Geno Smith. Choose your battle contestants here, people. Who do you trust in that spot? Do you trust Cleveland? I don't know. Defense is phenomenal. Myles Garrett might get 4 sacks. But do you trust him? Shedeur Sanders, rookie quarterback, looked absolutely pathetic in the pocket last week. Now understand one thing. Well, it's unbelievable. They don't get it. I'm telling you right now, they don't get help, backup quarterbacks. They don't. They don't get that many reps during the week. But look at this price point here. 80% of the tickets right now. 80%. That's impressive, man. 80%. I don't know why that wasn't moving in this right direction here. Hold on, man. Let me just get this up on the screen. Can you see that here? I don't know why that's not moving around enough. Let me just change this here. Can I get that? There we go. There we go. Now you can see it. 80% of the tickets, man, on Cleveland. 68% of the money. 2.5-point favorite for the Raiders. Look at it now, though, guys. 3.5, 3, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 out there in Vegas at the Westgate. Total 36.5. I don't know who scores in this game. And that's saying something. The Raiders' defense is awful. Like Shedeur Sanders can't throw the ball 30 times in this game, right? Are you keeping it on the ground? Like Vegas, I think, might be able to move the football because at least they have a veteran quarterback, but he is going to be under siege, man. Like Myles Garrett is going to be collapsing pockets, man, like you wouldn't believe this week. That's a bad offensive line for the Raiders. But tell me, 8 out of every 10 tickets early in the week coming in on Cleveland? Do we just expect the defense to win the game and Shedeur just has to maybe hand the football off? You know he's going to be a mess out there. You know he's going to be running around. By the way, did he run at all? Let's get a quick look here. Let me get that box score up here. Where's ESPN? ESPN. All right, let's go to scores. Let's go to Cleveland's 23-16 loss, but they did get the cover in that game. Let me see. Let's see if we can share this tab here. Bring that up. Let me bring it up here. All right, let's take a look. Hey, Journey. Anybody want to go see Journey out there in the streets? All right, you can. Lamar Jackson, 14-25. All right, Dylan Gabriel, 7 of 10, 68 yards, 88 rating. You'll take that. Look at Shedeur, man. Look at right here. 4 of 16, 47 yards, an interception. Sacked a couple times. QBR. Look at that QBR right here, man. 2.4 and a passer rating of 13.9. Here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know if we're probably not going to have lines out just yet. Shedeur is going to be the starter, though. 3 carries, 16 yards. He does scramble around in that pocket. Quinshad Judkins had 17 carries. He's going to get a lot of carries, too, this week. Let me see here. Let me see. If we go to FanDuel and we just scroll down, let me get this tab up for you guys. Let's scroll down. Let's go hunting in this one. Let's take a look at the Vegas Raiders. Passing props. Oh, Shedeur is up, people. 157.5. Look, I'm not going to outsmart myself. I'm not going to do that. He looks bad. But that defense is real bad. It is. Now, Max Crosby can get pressure, but that's not, I didn't care about the passing props all of a sudden. Shador to throw one, minus 192. There's going to be people that like Shador, and there's going to be hate watches up here at this point right now. Look at that. James Jackson, Shador is going to get 2 touchdowns. I'm telling you, like, why am I intrigued by this? I shouldn't be intrigued by this. I shouldn't be, but I am. I'm telling you. Let's go over to rushing props. Ooh, they got him at 20. You know what's funny about this? Like, they got Shador props up on a Tuesday, but nobody else in this game. Isn't that something? Look at him. 20 and a half. 20 and a half. As my guy Joe Lisi would say, alt them up. 25 yards is plus 138. Game special. Shador to record 5 yards rushing in each quarter. He's not doing that. Stop. How about that, though? Shador gets 10 rushing yards in each quarter. That's 125 to 1. $10 pays $1,250 back. Now, granted, I'm saying he's probably not going to do that. But this 20 number is really interesting because he runs around back there like he's a chicken with his head cut off. That could be something we might keep an eye on at this point. Really can. Let's get back to the game itself, though. 3.5s. Man, I'm telling you, I probably got to stay away from this game because I get so amped up and I get so energized by that. It's kind of funny. And I'm just bringing up a couple. If they keep Crosby away from him, he will eat. He took no 13 reps. I know he did. And again, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's not anything to surprise because NFL players don't really get that. But now he will have a week. They'll tailor the game plan to him, and you know he wants to run. He threw 16 times. Now, they were losing in that game. So I don't know how aggressive you're going to be on offense if you're Cleveland and Kevin Stefanski, because you probably just look at it and say, our defense is going to chew on this Raiders offense, and we don't have to do all that much. But I am intrigued so many times from some of these players that should not be going anywhere near. Atlanta and New Orleans. Cousins versus Shuck. Cousins starting at quarterback. He's going to be without Drake London this week. They're getting points. The Atlanta Falcons are getting points from New Orleans. This just feels to me like I want to just take rushing props in this one. Like that's what it feels like. I just want to rush. I'm going to Bet365 right now. Let me see here. Let's go to this screen. Here's Bet365. You know I like to take a look at some of these nonsense like teams. They're not going to have it early in the week, though. I just don't think they will. Let's go to rushing. Oh, they do have rushing props here. Team 1, which is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, man. That might be something we got to jump. That might be something we have to jump. I got to check out some things. But you see this number right here? 109.5 as a team rushing prop for the Atlanta Falcons. What do you guys think about that? Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. No Drake London. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. You don't think they can combine for 109 rushing yards in this game? Now, let me go back to, I guess we can look at it right here, though. Let's go to rushing. Bijan rushing over under yards. He's 78.5 in this one. Boy, I kind of like that. Look at his last couple games. Got 40 yards, 25 yards, 46 yards. Then he hits that gas pedal. Right here says 84. This one says 104. It's not bad. That's not bad. Where can you get the plus money at here, though? Now, see, sometimes you look at these numbers, guys, and here's where the books, and again, they're just marketplaces that are punched in. They're not, anybody's not doing this on purpose, just where the betting public sits. 80 yards rushing for Bijan. Minus 115. Now slide it down. See the rush yards over under? 78.5 minus 110. Stop it. Stop. Now look at this. Bijan for 100 yards plus 225. Bijan for 90, which you're bumping it up 12 yards plus 150. Ooh, that's some interesting stuff right there in this game. See that? Like this is where my mind goes. I don't want to take Atlanta. Nah, man, try to find some of those intricacies for Atlanta. That's what I look forward to at this point. Interesting one at this point right now. Let's get back to some of these games here. Philadelphia and Dallas. What to do, people? Answer me. You hear me out there? Like, what do we do in this game right now? Philadelphia and Dallas. 70% of the tickets on the Eagles. You know me. I'm a big Eagles guy. 3.5 is that number across the board. Total at 51.5 at the look ahead is 47.5 because of how good the Philadelphia Eagles defense is and how bad their offense has been. When I look at this game myself, and it's not, what's the word I'm looking for, where it's like, okay, you saw the games last week, and trust me, the Philadelphia Eagles beat a really good Detroit team and held them down. So you say they probably can hold down the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe they can. Week before that, really good defensive performance against the Green Bay Packers. Packers, decent offense. Not great, decent offense, though. Dallas at home in Jerry World. Dak has played Philadelphia very well. Remember that first game of the season? Now, again, it's two different teams playing at this point right now. Dallas in starvation mode, need every single win, probably have to run the table to make the playoffs. That's interesting. And here's Larry Bailey popping in here as well. Birds never cover when Lane Johnson is out. Let's start there, Larry. Because if I'm looking at this game this weekend as an Eagles fan, I think Dallas has a legitimate chance at an upset win over the Eagles. Legitimate. 3.5 points, probably we going towards Dallas here. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line last year went healthy. The best in football. Pushing people around, moving them around. Saquon Barkley shot out of a cannon. It makes your offense a lot easier here. It really does. Yeah, he got 4 last night, too. He did get 4. I had a great, the Dallas props were spot on for everybody last night. They were great. But when I see this and say to myself, what's the angle here? Like the Eagles it's a completely different defense in game number 1. They're awesome now, the Eagles defense. Unbelievable linebacker and a front line that'll break down your offensive line at will. They have a couple competitive wide receivers. The Eagles have some very good. Adoree Jackson starting to play a great cornerback. Quinyon Mitchell, one of the best in the NFL. Cooper DeJean, maybe the best slot cover guy in the NFL as well. I'm trying to figure out, can the Eagles offense get going? Is it more of the same, where the Eagles play good defense and the Eagles played a little bit closer to the vest? That's some of the things that we're sort of like placating ourselves with. But I'm telling you right now, I think the Dallas Cowboys are the play this weekend. Sitting here on a Tuesday, that's my thought process here. Now, do we have any... Let's go back to Bet365 here. Let me bring that back up on the screen right here. Let's take a look again. Let's go over and scroll down and look at this Eagles game. Let's go to rushing props. Oh, they got their numbers up earlier this week. This is fun. This is good stuff. 140.5 for the Eagles on the ground. Seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. I understand Bigsby's a good backup. He can get 20 yards. Saquon Barkley's good for maybe 60. Jalen Hurts doesn't really want to run the football all that much anymore and certainly doesn't look like he's like, hey, you know what? I'll carry 10 times for 65 yards. Seems like a lot here, right here on that 140. Dallas, 95.5. You might as well just take Javonte on the ground at that point. Rushing touchdowns, minus 140. Eagles are very stingy there inside the red zone, so maybe more of a passing game. But if we are looking rushing over under, Saquon, 78.5. Like, Dallas, again, Dallas doesn't have a good defense, but Dallas has a retooled defense as well. Quinyon, Mitchell. Quinnen Williams is really good at defensive tackle. That's an upgrade at that spot. Javonte's 65.5. How about if we look at some of the passing props in this game? I didn't even want to do props, but now I'm getting excited about this weekend. I'm always going to look at Jalen. Now, Jalen Hurts is 105. I don't know if we have... Let's go to FanDuel here. Let me go back here. Let's open this up. Isn't this nice to do a show where you can just rip through some of these screens, though? I know most people like that, where it's like, hey, you know, when you're talking, Don, it's nice to see what you're seeing and what you can go over. I do enjoy it. It makes the show easier. I just have 2 different computers plugged in so I can use 2 separate cameras and so I don't have it clogged up on one screen. I can't go back and forth. So this is nice, and we'll use this format from here on out when I pop on here and do some solo shows. But let's go to... Yeah, see, FanDuel doesn't have these out yet. That's why I thought it was pretty cool that the numbers were out here on Bet365. But how about those total points? Dallas 22.5, the Philadelphia Eagles 26.5. Fun game to look at through this week because The Packers have an elite defense. Detroit has a good defense. Both of those games the past couple weeks, windy and cold conditions, you don't have that. So you expect a bounce back, but I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Let's go back to 365. Let's see some of those passing props in this game, just to start out the week. Receptions, yards over, under. AJ, 63.5. Devonta, 58.5. George Pickens was my guy last night, 68.5. And CeeDee Lamb, 75.5. I'm telling you, I'm looking again towards Dallas. I got to tell you. And also, getting back to this point right here. Let me see. Let me just scroll up on this other screen from Larry. We were talking about the Eagles' offensive line, which last year was absolutely devastatingly good. Lane Johnson's going to be down for a month. Fred Johnson is coming in as his replacement. Decent backup, not Lane Johnson. Steen has been okay at right guard. Cam Jurgens has been injured and left that game injured last time, so it's probably Toth again at center. Landon Dickerson has been okay this year. Mailata's been elite. But if you're looking at Toth, Steen, Johnson on the right side, that's not good enough, man. Where's the running coming from here for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game? Those are the questions that I have. I don't know where they're coming from. So all my angles probably going to be coming up from a Cowboys perspective. And look at this, though. George Pickens, look at these five numbers. 168, 82, 78, 79, and 144. He is absolutely cooking out there, man. He looked fantastic last night. Absolutely fantastic. All right, let's get back to some of these odds here. Sunday Night Football game will end with this one. Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. Look at this. We're on for 37 minutes. I didn't even want to stay on this long, but I'm having too much fun. It's just too much fun right now. 48.5 is a number on the total. Now sits 49.5. 6.5 as a favorite, still there across the board. Tampa Bay, if we can bring up the injuries. Mike Evans not coming back yet. Godwin, probably practicing this week. Bucky Irving, practicing again this week. That could help. First instinct in this game, I do like the total to the over. I know Todd Bowles' defense are going to bring the heat, which is going to leave that back end of it a little bit susceptible, if you will. I do love that Rams offense. I do like Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield. Like last week, 50-mile-an-hour winds in Buffalo, they torched the over. Just because those gunslingers at quarterback tend to go over, and I think this has an opportunity to do that. Do I like the 6.5? It seems like they're setting you up just like the week before. 56% of the tickets coming in on Baker Mayfield. Hey, do you remember what that line was last week in Buffalo, guys? Yep, 6.5. Telling you to take that again. Just the way it is. But that's this week, man. I am excited because we got good weather. The one thing I didn't think I checked here was that Chicago weather. Let me just look real quick. 50 degrees, light wind. It's light wind across the board this weekend and decent temperatures from mid to late November. That's fantastic, man. Now we're excited. Now we're ready to go. I'm feeling comfortable. I'm feeling joyous on this occasion. And I really think that we can get down to business. So an early line show on a Tuesday. We'll do this throughout the rest of the season just to get that preview and get the juices flowing on where we can go. I'm excited about this week, but also understand this. I'm going to pop in a little bit later to update some of these numbers and lines. Live shows are fun to do. A couple questions there in the chat box, so we'll keep it going at that point. But that'll do it, man. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Let's see if we can hit some home runs, boys.